The fifth day of the fourth special session of the 20th Congress will now come to order. May we all stand for a moment of silent prayer. Roll call, Chief Clerk.
Senator Alec. Senator Aritos. Senator Figuer. Senator Coolant. Floor Leader Harper. Senator Kunman. Vice Speaker Moses. Senator Ned. Senator Penuelo, Senator Permin, Senator Romulo, Senator Ursmao, Senator Welly, Speaker Simona.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 11 members are present.
We have quorum to transact business. Reading of the journal for Leader Harper.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning to you again, and all honorable members, as well as our staff, and all those who are observing our session this morning. Again, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal.
And it's been moved and seconded that we dispense with the reading of our journal. Those in favor said yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. We now dispense with the reading of the journal. Next item, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, item 5, presidential communications on receipt of numbers 20-255 through 20-259.
Sign those, Chief Clerk. Next item.
Item 6, FSM Supreme Court communications, none, Mr. Speaker.
Continue.
Item 7, member communications, there are none. Item 8, departmental communications, none. Item 9, agency or governmental authority communications, none. Item 10, state communications, none also. Item 11, state Supreme Court communications, none. Item 12, municipal or town communications, none. Item 13, foreign government communications, none,
Okay.
Mr. Speaker.
Order of the day. Item 14.
Item 14, understanding committee reports, we have an awaiting list number 20-32.
Okay. There is a report. Next item.
Item 14, special committee reports, there are none, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 16, assignment of measures and communications, we have a referral sheet number 20-69.
Okay. Chairman and members review that referral sheet for planning purposes. Next item.
Item 17, unfinished business, none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Item 18, bill calendar, first bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-199 for second reading. CP number 20-199 is a bill for NAFT to amend sections 1 and 9 of Public Law number 20-42 as amended by Public Laws numbers 20-54, 20-64, 20-67, and 20-83 in order to appropriate $10 million of additional funds from the General Fund of the Federated States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2018, and for other purposes.
Chairman Figuer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Congress pass the said bill on second and final reading.
It's moved and seconded that Congress pass on second and final reading CP number 20-199. Discussion. Chairman Figuer.
Mr. Speaker, I have a floor amendment that I wish to offer. It's written and distributed, and the proposed floor amendment is based on the decision the committee made yesterday to adjust the budget so that we can operate and pass a budget within the ceiling, the revenue available to the nation. So instead of reading it, may I ask that we insert the proposed written amendment into the bill? I so move.
It's moved and seconded that the offer for amendments by Chairman Fakir to CB 20-199 be adopted, and because of its length, we will dispense with its reading. There's no objection to that. Florida Harbor, motion for suspension of rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to suspend any rule that may impede our action on the said amendment.
It's moved and seconded that any relevant rules that may impede our action, specifically the rule prohibiting substantive amendments on second and final reading, be suspended. Those in favor say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. The relevant rules are now suspended. Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're still on discussion of the offered floor amendments by Chairman Fakir.
Speaker,
Yes,
I
Chairman
just
Fakir.
have another oral amendment that I wish to offer to the proposed written amendment. And
Proceed.
on page 7, on line top of the page, line 3, delete the figure 10 and insert 20 in lieu thereof. I so move.
It's moved and seconded that the offered oral amendment to the floor amendment offered by Chairman Fakir be adopted. Those in discussion? Any discussion? Yes,
Just out of
Florida
curiosity, why is that figure double?
Speaker,
that's just to authorize for, in case we need to pay up some of these old obligations. It has nothing to do with changing the entire figure. It's just an authorization to go up. Okay? Any further discussion? If none?
Speaker?
Yes, Chairman Berman?
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Good morning to you, vice, floor, members, and all that are observing our session this morning. Speaker, I just have one, the regulatory office to set up.
Can we take care of this
Oh,
one
okay.
first,
All
then
right.
we come
All
to
right.
yours?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion on the offered oral amendment by Chairman Fakir, let's vote. Those in favor of the adoption of the offered oral amendment say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. The offered oral amendments by Chairman Fakir is adopted. We are still on the discussion of the floor amendment offered to CB 20-199 as amended. Chairman Berman.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. I'm actually looking at the last page 10 and looking under TCNI, and I saw 200,000 and 60,000, but I believe when the committee to wait on the president, they're asking for 75,000 to establish that office. So I'm not seeing it. So is that been taken out or it's?
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. The Congress is back in session. We're still on discussion of the offer for amendments to CB 20-199 as amended. Chairman Fakir.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have another oral amendment that I wish to offer on the proposed
Proceed.
draft amendments. On page 3, under Department of Transportation, Communication and Infrastructure, at the bottom line after the word 200 shall be used for PMU operations, and add the following phrase, and 75,000 of which is for regulatory authority. I so move.
It's moved and seconded that the offered oral amendments by Chairman Fakir to the original floor amendments be adopted. The relevant rules are still suspended up to this point, so discussion on the offered oral amendments. I think the official name is the Telecommunication Regulatory Authority. Yeah, so they shall reflect that. Okay. Any further discussion? If none, let's vote on the offered oral amendments. Those in favor say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. The offered oral amendments are adopted. We now are still discussing the floor amendment to CB 20-199 as amended twice. Any
Move for
further
the-
discussion?
Move for the previous question.
It's moved that debate be closed. If there is no objection, debate is closed, so let's vote. Those in favor of adoption of the offered floor amendments to CB 20-199 offered by Chairman Fakir as amended twice, say yes. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The offered floor amendments to CB 20-199 as amended are adopted. We now have CD1. Any further discussion on CD1?
Question.
Questions being called for?
Recess, Speaker, please.
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're still on the bill calendar.
Speaker.
Senator Chairman Perman.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. I've been given the task to withdraw the bills, following bills. Motion to withdraw and place on our bill calendar 20-211, 20-212, and 20-213. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
It's moved and seconded that the following bills, CP number 20-111, 20-212, 20-213, be withdrawn from committee and placed on the bill calendar for first reading action. Those in favor of the motion say yes. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Those bills are now placed on the bill calendar for action. Short recess.
Resume,
Congress back in session. The relevant rules that might impede our actions are still suspended up to this point. So first bill, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-211 for first reading. CP number 20-211. It's a bill for an act to amend Section 209 of Title II of the Code of the Federated States of Micronesia as annotated, to update the salaries for the President and the Vice President of the FSM and for other purposes.
point of clarification, Speaker. Have we voted on those bills to be placed?
Yes, we've already finished voting on the placement, withdrawing and placement of this. Short recess. Chairman Perman.
Motion to defer action on the said bill.
It's moved and seconded that CP number 20-111 be deferred. Those in favor say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Said bill is deferred. Next bill, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-212 for first reading. CP number 20-212 is a bill for an act to further amend Public Law number 20-60 as amended by Public Laws numbers 20-65, 20-75, and 20-85 by amending Section 6 thereof to change the allotment of funds previously appropriated therein to fund public projects and social programs in the state of Yap and for other purposes.
Move for the
Okay,
passage.
Chairman Fakir.
So move.
It's moved and seconded that Congress pass on first reading CP number 20-12. 212. Discussion? Any discussion? If none, there's no objection. Discussion is closed, so let's vote on passage on first reading. Chief Clerk, roll call of members.
Senator Alick, Senator Aritos, Senator Figuer, Senator Coolant, Floor Leader Harper, Senator Quinman, Vice Speaker Moses, Senator Ned, Senator Panuelo, Senator Perman, Senator Romlo, Senator Orismal, Senator Wally. Speaker Simina.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 11 members voted for.
For that reason, CP number 20-212 has passed Congress on first reading. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-213 for first reading. CP number 20-213 is a bill for an act to appropriate the sum of $2.8 from the general fund of the Federated States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2018, for the purpose of funding public projects and social programs for the people of Yap, Koshai, Pohnpei, and Chuk states, and for other purposes.
Chairman Fagir.
I move for the passage of the said bill on final, first reading.
You're reluctant, right? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass on first reading CP number 20-213. Discussion? Any discussion? Short recess. Congress back in session. We're still on discussion of CP 20-213. Any
Speaker.
further discussion? If none,
Speaker,
yes, Florida Harbor.
yeah, I just want to state for the record that I do support this bill. However, I'm kind of hesitant also, as my PCDs are still being held up at the budget office, so I don't see any need to rush for another public project when I haven't received those there. Thank you.
Thank you, Floor Leader. I'm with you.
Okay, any further discussion? Questions been called for. There is no objection. Discussion is closed. So let's vote by roll call of members. Chief Clerk.
Senator Alec. Still use his name. Aritos, Senator Aritos. Senator Figuer.
And all.
Senator Coland. Floor Leader Harper. Senator Conman.
But I like big money.
Vice Speaker Moses. Senator Neth. Senator Penuelo. Senator Perman. Senator Romulo. Senator Rusmal. Senator Wally. Speaker Simina.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 10 members voted for.
For that reason, CP number 213 barely passed first reading. Next bill.
There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. If no further appeal for action, next item is resolution calendar. Chief Clerk. Well, just say,
Speaker,
any resolution, Chief
Speaker,
Clerk?
There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker.
Okay, Chairman Figure, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a resolution that I want to put on the calendar for action, or we
Okay,
have.
proceed.
Congress Resolution 2-109, may I ask, third recess.
Oh, so you want your Yappies guy to be acted on? Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. Chairman Fikir, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to place Congress Resolution 20-108 on the resolution calendar for action.
It's moved and seconded that resolution number 20-108 be placed on the resolution calendar for action. Let the record reflect that the relevant rules are still suspended. So those in favor of the motion say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. So resolution number 20-108 is now placed on the resolution calendar for action. Chairman Figueroa.
Move for the adoption of Congress Resolution 20-108.
It's moved and seconded that Congress adopt resolution number 20-108. Discussion.
Speaker,
Any
can we
discussion?
just ask Chief to read the title of the resolution?
Yes, Chief Clerk.
Certainly. CR number 20-108 is a resolution expressing the sincere gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Jesse Stott for his dedicated service as staff attorney to the Congress of the Federated States of Micronesia.
Okay, there you have it. Discussion.
Speaker,
Yes, Floor Leader Hubbard.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say that I don't support the resolution because I don't want him to leave us. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's one way of looking at it. Chairman Figueroa?
Well, I think I said the same feeling, but I guess this is the way we do things. I'm really sad to see him leave. So it's not that I'm really sincere gratitude and appreciation for him leaving. It's my sadness that he's leaving us, but at the same time, I appreciate his service to this Congress, to the committee, and to this nation as a whole. I think he has contributed a lot. He worked with a lot of with dedication, and I'm sad to see him leave, but he must leave and go forward. And I wish him the best of luck in his endeavors and where he is, and I'm sure he will come back and visit us every now and then. And I'm sure he's not gonna forget about the good and bad times that we shared together. So, Jesse, farewell. So long.
Thank you very much, Chairman Figueroa. Of course, Jesse still has his entire future ahead of him. I can only add that I hope his experience with Congress will help him in his future endeavors. Thank you very much for your works with us. Any further discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Floor Leader.
Yeah, after talking to Jesse just for a few seconds, I now change my vote.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? If none, before we vote, I noticed some technical things that legal staff or staff should work on during encroachment. Okay. Those in favor of the adoption of resolution number 20-108, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Resolution number 20-108 is adopted by Congress. Next resolution.
None, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, if there's no further resolution, next item.
Item 20, introduction of bills and resolutions.
If you have any measure to introduce, pass them on to Chief Clerk. Next item.
Item 21, miscellaneous communications. There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, next item.
22, miscellaneous business.
Speaker.
Okay, Chairman Berman.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, last night I was watching Al Jazeera, and I don't know if some members do watch that news program. And it was a documentary on the Pacific nuclear time bomb. And this is regarding the testing of the atomic bomb on Nenuatak, especially the burial of the plutonium on the island of Runit. Because of the sea level rising, they're talking about that it's a disaster waiting to happen. There's two things came onto my mind. If you notice lately, the volcano that happened in Hawaii, the trade wind came all the way to our side, and I'm pretty sure during those 1946 to 1950s, we got that problem from those bombing, but I guess there's no scientific proof that we did. Anyways, the problem for the sea level rising will, the way they're saying it, that it will cause the way they built the dome was during those days wasn't really strong enough to contain that waste. And two things that came into my mind is, one is our source of the people of the Pacific Islanders, if that thing started to leak. And the second thing is of course, our source of revenue is fish. Imagine the world will say, don't eat tuna from the Pacific Islands because there's plutonium in their ocean. So if I may ask the speaker to task which committee is proper to look into that, the problem, and can report it back to members so we kind of get more understanding of really what is that. And this is my miscellaneous for today. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Perman, for bringing up a very important issue for our region. I believe we can, as the Congress, we can do our part, but I would assume that these things will have to be taken up by the Micronesian Presidential Summit, those kind of regional issues, but we need to address it on our own. So for that reason, I task the Committee on Health and Social Affairs and the Special Committee on Environment and Climate Change to look into what, if any, Congress can do to help put this issue in the forefront of regional and international discussion. Okay. Any other, Chairman Fakir, you said that you will have some miscellaneous business.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been debating whether I should make any comments. Every time I open my mouth, people hate me. But I'm just sad that we passed the supplemental budget. It may be, I consider it as another sad day for the FSM and the future of this nation. When we started this session, and because the World Bank reimbursed us, I had expected that we would put at least $10 million into the trust fund for the future of this nation. The people that we are trying to protect, our children and their children and the future generations. However, we have come short of that. As you all know, that at least this country or this government should put in at least $15 million a year in order to be able to sustain the operation of the government and keep our people well-being as, if not today, yesterday. But I guess that's what it is. And that's why I also voted against the public project, because last session we appropriated money for public projects in small amount, and I've been consistent in in what I've been saying in the committee, although you all overruled me, to wait until we get more money and then fulfill our what I think is our obligation to our citizen and the nation in the future. The world, the GAO report speaks to that very clearly, and there is now a transition into that, and we're going to fall short. 2023 comes and effective 2024, and that's where I'm coming from. It's not that I don't like public projects. I like to appropriate more money and bigger money for projects that would generate revenue and benefit to our citizens. And yet we are trying to increase salaries for officials, people who have already made more money, and somebody mentioned about a state that the officers are making more than what the ordinary people are doing. And that I volunteered to be in this be a public servant. Not that I want to make myself enrich myself, but I wanted to contribute, and I failed in my effort. So I just want to say that I have not done much, but I like to help. And I hope that in the future, you will all agree that we need to protect the interests of the future generation of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Fakir. To the contrary, I would like to congratulate you and members for actually putting in so much, at least 7 million for now. But I know it's despite or in spite of all the efforts to reduce it even further. So with that, I think I should congratulate you, Chairman Fakir, on your leadership, and with all of our colleagues for coming to terms with that application of ours to keep funding our trust fund. We're only 3 million short. I'm sure that any future, I think that was the understanding, that if there are future revenues coming in, we will put those into the trust fund. And for that, thank you. Don't be sad. You're doing a wonderful job in growing our trust fund with Vice Speaker Moses and those who signed that original bill on the 10 million appropriation to the trust fund. Okay, any other miscellaneous business?
Speaker.
Floor Leader Harbert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to express my little dismay in our delivering the bill which increases the salary of the people up there, the president and the vice, as I really want the salary for those two positions to be increased so that it can attract other members of this Congress to move over there. Especially my brother here, I want him to go there to continue the missing 4 years in his presidency so that he could be qualified for the presidential allowance. And on the issue raised by Senator Berman, I look at it differently because I think once the bomb is leaked or we have negative impact on the bomb that were exploded there or whatever is buried there, I think probably U.S. will give us more money in the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, thank you, Floor Leader Harbert. I don't know who would be attracted to go over there with this amount of money. And on the issue of this radioactive waste, I think that there will be no money if there are no people. So, okay. Vice Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to you, members, and those observing. I decided to introduce the bill to increase the President and Vice President's salary, mainly for several reasons, and some of them are even with the increase that was proposed, there will be still people working for the President that will make more than that salary. And my short time here in Congress, I've seen Congress appropriate at least 10 million a year for what we deem priority infrastructure projects. And then we go on to do other public project bills that we appropriate depending on the revenue projections provided by the executive branch. However, for the past so many years, the President's salary has been frozen like the rest of us. However, we have found ways to circumvent the rules and procedures that we have here at the national government, which pertains to personnel. So it creates a loophole within our legal structure to allow for other employees to get more than what the President and Vice President, and they are the leaders of this government. And to see that happen it's kind of condescending for me to see the president and vice president get less than the people that work for them when they are the chief executive officers of this country. So then I decided, because we've had numerous oversight hearings on the said issue, sometimes we tend to add on things to that salary and therefore deemed it unpopular. But I would have liked to have seen a vote on the issue, whether it passes or not. That's the decision of the Congress. So I was kind of disappointed that it was deferred. It's always been deferred. I wanted to see it either pass or be defeated, whichever one is the successful choice of this Congress. That's fine. However, I feel if we voted today and defeated it, fine. At least the effort was made to have their salaries updated, at least. So, I mean, that's my thinking on we've been appropriating so much. Today, we just passed a project bill that is around 2.8 million, and that is, if we were to put that into the salaries that were proposed, it's nowhere, I mean, we can't expend that within the near future. It would go beyond 2023 just to pay their salaries. So, I mean, the notion of us wasting money on the president's salary, to me, is not a good justification. They deserve the salary, and I hope one day we would find it necessary to actually increase those two positions in terms of salary. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Vice Speaker Moses. We will act on it. That I can assure. It's already on our calendar. So it's just a matter of first, if we want to show the entire Congress take on it, we should have a full House before we act on it, so we can defeat it or pass it according to our full numbers. And all the others, we can talk all we want, but I'm sure each individual member has his own reasons for or against, and we will respect that. But in order for us to do it, I would rather have it when we have a full House or full membership. So that's just my take on it, but it will come to pass. I mean, it will come to the front. We will confront it one way or another. Okay? Chairman Ursumal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I was going to keep my mouth shut so it can be stink. However, I'd like to point out that my not supporting any salary increases has nothing to do with the thinking that it's a waste of money. No. To me, it's whether this country, this nation can afford that kind of salary. If we can, let's give everybody an increase, including helping the states to do their salary assessment. I really wish to know and see on paper the salaries of the governors, the lieutenant governors, members of the state legislatures, and the cabinet members, as well as employees of the state governments. When we make a pronouncement here that there are states making more money, governors in two of the states making more money than our president, I really like to see that on paper. Because the same state that is supposedly states that have increased the salary of their governors come to this Congress for help. So is it a responsible way of spending money when we increase our salary to the ceiling but cannot afford to provide funding for the programs that all of our people need? That's the point. That's where I'm coming from. Nothing to do with waste of money. If I have billions of dollars, I will be paying everybody in this country some money so they can enjoy life. But we don't, and I don't. A student in Hawaii from YAP is asking for
our help. I wish I have money to pay that student $2,000 so he can go back to school. But I don't. So this is where I'm coming from. There is nothing about a waste of money on salary. It's whether this nation can afford that kind of salary. And like I said in the office, this thing about the president's allowance, former presidents, I walk out of here when that bill was introduced and was going to be acted on in this Congress, because it was a conflict of interest for me to vote on something that I know was going to be a benefit to me. So please, don't give the employees the impression that, oh, Joe, think that it's a waste of money to give you money. No. When I was over there in that office, I tried to help the employees with especially 2 items. One was to have Employee of the Year and to recognize that employee with funding contribution or money contribution, and for the executive branch to have party for everybody and their families to enjoy. And 2, well, those 2. And you know, when MyCare, well, at that time it was the National Government Employee Health Insurance, was proposing to raise premium, I asked Congress not to have the employees pay for the increase, but for the employer, the national government, to pay for it, so that we don't touch what the employees are taking home. To me, that's a fair way of increasing salaries indirectly by helping them with the benefits. Some of our employees, low-pay employees, are paying every month $200, $300 out of their pocket because of this thing about housing. They came all the way from Yap to find work here, but cannot be given housing because of this regulation that says, oh, you're recruited locally. How can a Wolayan, how can a Sarwalis, how can a Pingnapis find a job if he stays in Pingnap or in Ifaluk? They must travel to either Palicar or to Colonia Yap and Colonia Ponape or Wena or Lela to find job, or maybe Tafansak. So that's the housing regulation that I had pushed for it to be placed on the calendar and was deferred so we have more people to discuss. And I understand during our absence, it was boom, and then voted down. The issue on the acting for over 90 days. I think it's no secret that I had raised concern again because of affordability. But what happened? I made a detour to Yap because of family needs that I need to be there to take care of some things. And the bill, boom, on the floor. And ring. So this is where I'm coming from. And I respect, when we agree to something, I respect that. Because collectively, as much as I disagree, the collective agreement and by the members present during our meeting is we do this, we do that, just to have our work on this floor smooth and peaceful. That's where I'm coming from, with all due respect to all of you. Please, you keep talking like I think the employees are worthless. One of these days, walking out of here or from the office, boom, the rock will hit my forehead. And I cannot afford that because I need to be alive so I can continue to make noise in this chamber. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Chairman Norrismal, for letting it all out. As you know, our Congress is a representative of our people, so thank you for expressing your concerns and maybe disappointment. Okay. Senator Net, you have miscellaneous business. We're in miscellaneous business, so
Thank you, Speaker. I don't have miscellaneous business.
I thought you were reaching for your mic. And any other miscellaneous business? If none, there's no objection. We'll move to the announcement. Chairman Wale,
Thank you. No announcement.
Chairman Fagir.
I ask members of your Committee on Ways and Means to continue checking the bulletin or the monitor in our office for public hearings and meetings for the committee.
Okay, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Take note, members of Ways and Means. Acting Chairman Janko, Senator Net.
Short recess, Speaker.
Short recess, subject to call of the chair.
I-
Congress is back in session. Acting Chairman Net, still have the floor.
Thank you, Speaker. Your Committee on Chayanco will have its budget hearing on the Supreme Court at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow.
Okay, take note, members of Janko Committee, budget of the third branch of our government. It's important. Chairman Alec,
Thank you, Speaker. No announcement.
Chairman Berman.
Again, reminder, noon today, hearing for Resolution 20-109. That's the oversight hearing of MyCare board member.
Okay, take note, members of HSA. I think that's a nomination. Chairman Romulo. Chairman Panuelo. Chairman Coonan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on TNC will hold a hearing on Monday for the nominee, and Tuesday, the oversight, that's a joint hearing with R&T Committee. And after that oversight, we will continue to do the markup and markdown. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Coonan. Take note, members of TNC Committee. Chairman Ursumal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Education, I'd like to notify the members that that committee is on recess to have the chairman cool down and lower his blood pressure. Thank you. No meetings.
Thank you. That's a healthy way of handling the situation. So, thank you very much, Chairman Ursumal. Vice Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to inform members that services for the passing of Senator Panuelo's father will be at 2 o'clock at St. Peter's Church in Soques. And 4 o'clock, it will be moved up to the residence for burial at 4 o'clock.
Thank you, Vice Speaker Moyes, for the announcement. You can, I would like to ask that you represent the Speaker in that, and of course, all members are invited to attend that funeral services. Okay. Coleman, Senator Coleman, any announcement?
No announcement, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Floor Leader Harbor, any announcement in your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No announcement, but as my brother here said, after all the miscellaneous he made, I think we need to rest, otherwise we'll have heart attack. So I move that we stand in recess and come back on Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's moved and seconded that Congress stand in recess until 10 o'clock in the morning of Monday. Those in favor of the motion say yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Congress now stands in recess until 10 o'clock in the morning of Monday.